Back in 1864, Fyodor Dostoevsky dropped a short novel that, well, it basically exploded onto the literary scene. I mean, this thing is so raw, so defiant, and just so psychologically intense that a lot of people call it the first ever existentialist novel. So let's dive right in. Let's get into the squalid but brilliant mind of the underground man. And right away, from the very first sentence, this book just grabs you. There's no gentle start here, no charming hero to ease you in. Nope, Dostoevsky just throws you headfirst into this bitter, self-hating confession. It's honestly one of the most unforgettable openings in all of literature, and it perfectly sets the tone for everything that's about to unfold. So, who is this guy anyway? Well, he's a retired civil servant living in St. Petersburg. He's only 40, but listen to him talk. You'd think his life was completely over. He's basically locked himself away from the world in what he calls his underground, which is really just a miserable little apartment where he does nothing but marinate in his own resentment and, his intellectual pride. And what's so fascinating here is why he's writing all this down. He's not looking for you to feel sorry for him, and he's definitely not asking for forgiveness. No, he's writing to basically perform an autopsy on himself, to put his own sickness on full display. See, he thinks this super intense awareness he has, this ability to see the absurdity and hypocrisy in everything, is both his greatest gift and his absolute worst curse. And this really gets us to the heart of his whole problem. When he says he's a sick man, he's not really talking about his liver, even though he brings it up. The sickness he's describing is way deeper than that. It's an illness of the mind, something he calls excessive consciousness. Just think about that for a second. He overthinks everything. He analyzes every single motive, every emotion, from 100 different directions until, poof, all the meaning just collapses. And the result? He can't do anything. He's totally paralyzed. His own intelligence has literally become his prison, trapping him in the state of doing nothing at all. This sets up a really stark contrast he makes between himself and what he calls the man of action. Now, the man of action, he's simple, he's decisive, maybe, just maybe, a little bit dense. He sees a goal and he just goes for it, like a bull charging at a red flag. And our underground man, he absolutely despises this guy. But at the same time, he is so painfully jealous of him. Why? Because he's stuck, tangled up in the spiderweb of his own mind. You have to understand, this viewpoint was a direct attack on the ideas of his time. This was an age that celebrated reason, the Enlightenment, and here comes Dostoevsky's character with this terrifying idea: what if our greatest intellectual gifts, our very consciousness, could also be what destroys us? This isn't just him whining, it's a full-blown philosophical diagnosis. And like I said, this isn't just some personal gripe. The underground man is launching an all-out philosophical rebellion. He's taken aim at this really popular 19th century idea, the one that said humans are basically rational. The idea was, if you just educate people, they'll always choose what's in their best interest. And to our narrator, that is the most ridiculous, naive thing he's ever heard. To get his point across, he uses this incredible metaphor: the stone wall. What's the stone wall? It's logic. It's the laws of nature, science, math. It's the hard, undeniable fact that 2 + 2 = 4. Now, for most of us, that's comforting, right? It's solid. But for the underground man, that wall is a prison. And right here is where he just lobs a philosophical grenade into the whole conversation. He asks, what if the most important thing about us isn't our own well-being? What if it isn't logic or what's good for us? What if it's our free will? What if the thing that makes us truly human is the right to want something totally irrational, something even self-destructive, just for the sake of wanting it? So here's the kicker. He champions all this spite and chaos, not because he thinks it's good, but because he thinks it's his. It's proof that he's not some predictable machine. He would literally rather suffer on his own terms than accept some perfect, painless, calculated happiness that science tries to hand him. And Dostoevsky gives us another fantastic image to think about here. He says a world that's run by pure reason would turn all of us into piano keys, just being played by the laws of nature. The underground man fights back against this. He insists that what makes us human in all our messy glory is the freedom to smash a wrong note on purpose. Okay, so that's the theory. But what happens when you actually try to live like this? Well, the second half of the book shows us exactly that, and it's a disaster. It turns out all these grand theories don't lead to some kind of noble freedom. They lead to crushing loneliness and just a whole lot of self-inflicted misery. So he starts telling us these stories from his past, and they are just cringe-worthy. He spends years, literally years, plotting revenge against some army officer who probably didn't even know he existed. He forces his way into a dinner with old-school friends and then proceeds to make a complete and utter fool of himself. I mean, in every single story, his pride and his endless overthinking just lead him straight to self-sabotage. But the most heartbreaking story of all is his encounter with Liza, a young prostitute. You see, for just a brief moment, there's this spark, a real chance for genuine human connection. But he just can't do it. He can't handle it. His need to be in control, to pontificate, to protect his own fragile ego, it all takes over, and he lashes out with just devastating cruelty. And in doing so, he destroys the one person who actually shows him a bit of kindness. So you have to ask yourself, why does this miserable guy from 19th century Russia still feel so relevant today? It's because Dostoevsky wasn't just writing about one weird, lonely man. No, he was holding up a mirror to all of us, to the modern soul itself. So what's the takeaway here? What does the underground man really show us? Well, for one thing, he proves that we are not simple, logical creatures. Not by a long shot. His story is this powerful warning about how chasing absolute freedom, especially a freedom based on spite, can end in total isolation. He also shows us how we can become addicted to our own suffering, right? Because when the world feels chaotic, our pain can feel like the only thing we truly own. And maybe most importantly, he's this flashing red light warning us that a massive ego and a cynical worldview will absolutely kill any chance you have at real love or connection. And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty unsettling question to chew on. Think about our world today. It's all about algorithms, data, optimizing every little part of our lives. In an age like this, doesn't the underground man's desperate, irrational scream for freedom, even a self-destructive one, feel more relevant than ever?